Good morning, guys. Got up early today. Been having fun with this project ever since we started it on the Scaled World um, Wednesday for the Scaled World build challenger that we're doing there for scaledworld.net. Scaledworld.net. Posted up one video today on the Model Hut and on the Mr. Mini Dreams Facebook page. New product we got from Brian Buster over there at Buster's Custom Colors. He sent us a dozen really sharp colors. But last week, working on this, I had an idea. We was working on tail lights for this. I had an idea pop up, so I went with it. We cut the top off to do a custom version of the Challenger for ScaledWorld.net, and then like we was looking at the photo etch and stuff for the tail light, so I made that fit um, after the show. Then I recut a trunk line because we made it a convertible. I recut a trunk line. I added a hood scoop on here, but I wanted it to be a little retro. If you look at the other Challengers over the years, one of the 70 Challengers has this hood scoop. I didn't want to cut up the whole hood because I want to restore this project later on. So I had an extra hood scoop. I just cut the hood scoop down and kind of laid it on just to give it that look. So we're doing a few custom treatments on this. But since this right here is a convertible, in order to do the convertible stuff right, you have to widen these panels for the mechanism for the roof that would go up and down. And then I'm going to make a boot this way. So I'm going to do that with Milliput. Some of you guys haven't used Milliput before. There is different Bondos. But this right here, I'm going to want this to be a little bit thick. So I'm going to use Milliput instead of my Kimba filler or instead of metal glaze or something like that. Want to appreciate you guys that are coming in this morning. If you guys hadn't seen, Jason Devante has been posting up some videos. He worked on a 64. I don't know what color that green is, but he's got a really sharp video that he just put out. It looks pretty good, working hydraulics on it. So the problem with Milliput that a lot of people don't get right is it's by amount. It's a 50-50 amount. So some people, they get discouraged because they see two sticks. They don't, and I don't use a scale. What I do is usually, I know I need a good amount to fill this in, and I'm going to widen some of this up, and then we'll clean it all up by doing sanding and stuff. But I know we're going to need quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take me about a thumb width, is what I do. And usually I can pinch it a little bit. And I usually take me about a thumb width of it. It's super soft right now, but then it gets rock hard. A lot of the Japanese guys like to use this first, and then they'll go back with the Tamiya putty, and they do a lot of full-on body works with this stuff. So basically, I do a pinch, a thumbprint pinch, so they're basically the same. Like I said, you just take it, pinch it down, you got your impression, you do your cut. Milliput, I got it at Hobby Lobby, $7.99, 40% off coupon. It's like $3.60 or something like that. Just well, it's more than it. About $4.60. I said. I don't know why I said $3.60. It's about $4.60. So it's cheap. And then basically, you take it, and what I'm going to do first is I like to cut it up in little pieces just to help the bonding. Last week we got to talking about music and stuff like that, and it seemed a few people seemed to relate to it. So usually what I do is I just cut up a few pieces. What's up, Punch? Guys, Punch and his boys been going to a few car events over there, and where they're from, and I've seen some nice stuff. Um, and then me and Punch are both escort fans. Um, so he shares some escorts that we don't get from here in the States. So it's good to look at some of the pictures. So don't be hesitating to sub each other. You don't know what you'll find. So what I do is I usually cut mine up into chunks after I make the size. This right here is just windshield washer fluid. Just a little bit of windshield washer fluid. What I do is I spray a little bit on my hands just to keep it moist. Well, I thought you had two boys for some reason, Punch. I thought your pictures always showed So then what I do is I usually just keep my hands a little wet as you're building this up. You can see by making it into the chunks, it mix up a lot quicker. Um, you could use gloves, but I see how this is tacky. See my fingers? I see the gloves are just a nuisance. So what I do is I just keep mixing this every now and then. I wet my fingers. Some people wet the Milliput, but I wet my fingers, and I just keep it going. Um, I'm afraid to put too much water in here, so I use windshield washer fluid and water mix just to get it. And then once you start seeing, you'll see all the clear disappear, all the white, which is actually the hardener, and then you can see it all turning a yellow. Now they have it in white and gray. I just pick up the yellow. I don't know why. All right, now that I got it mixed up, I'll go ahead and get my fingers wet again, like so. Then I start to smooth it out. Make sure you can see how it's smooth. I'm getting all the clumps and cracks out and all that. You don't want to make too much, but because you can always go back and add more. Um, so what I'm gonna do is spray my hands one more time, rub it on here, then I rub it on my parchment paper so that way it don't stick to the paper. And I'm gonna lay it out flat. I like to take like a paintbrush, got kind of a rolling system in it, and then get it flat. Make sure it's not sticking. Make sure you get your brush wet a little bit, so that way it don't stick to your brush. And I kind of like roll it out like a cookie, what have you. See when you don't get it wet. Get a little bit more on there. And this is the way I do it. Like I say, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm just showing you guys how I do it, because it works for me. Then once I get it somewhat like that, I usually like to take, I keep some glass jars out, and on this glass jar, you see how it's level, it's got a lip around it. So then what I do is I'll come in there like that, and I try to, you better get it wet first. Alright, and then I come in there and I use that as a level, and then I'm just stretching it out. Now let's get it off of there. You got some working time with it. I'm just saying I don't use it when I'm mixing because I don't want it to get wet on the inside. All right. And then what I'm going to start doing, got a beard hair in there. All right. So what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to take a piece and just cut it. And because I already know what I'm doing, I'm going to cut it like this. I'm going to take it back to the car. Let's see if I can get you guys in the camera view. And I'm going to lay it along the back of the seat right there, because I know that's where I want the boot to be. And I kind of smooth it in, and I'm kind of going to build it up in a layer like system right there. So I know I got that. I recommend you guys using a good new blade so you can cut through it. Use a wet Q-tip to do some smoothing. Try to keep you guys all in camera view. Now this is what works for me, guys, because I know I'm building that form in there. And then what I'll do is I'll come back like this, because I'm already starting my form. I'll come back and I'll cut that. Then I'll pull that off. Then I'll take the pieces that I ripped earlier and then go back in there. You want to keep it flush, because I know I don't want a big, tall, large boot over the car. So I'm going back in there like that. Get that up there. Give me another piece. Then I'm going to cut another piece and lay it out there just to build it up just a little bit. And if you can see, once you start doing all this, it starts building up pretty nice. And then you can always sand it to shape. Alright, then I get my wet tip again, and all I'm doing is smoothing it out, guys, just to smooth it out, because we want a metal hard plastic look for the convertible top. We don't want the reason why I don't like really using my fingers to do the smoothing. Right now I'm doing some shaping, but because it will be uneven, so that's why you kind of want to use a tool to help shape, like you guys see me use the bottle to make it flat. That way it's somewhat the same consistency around the build. So then we'll do that like that. And what I did is run my finger through here like this, and it's kind of putting it down. That way the boot is going to kind of reflect the headrest. So we're just getting little shapes in there. Starting to sound like Bob Ross. And we'll just put a little tree here. And we'll just form that in there like that. Then like that. Alright. So then, I'll take some sanding and do some sanding stuff with it here in a little bit. But you see how I built it up? I didn't just go in there and put one great big old thick piece down. I like to take my time with it and build it up. Easier to control that way. Alright. Don't take much. Get that right there like that. Alright. Now let's work on the sides. And then you can clean all that up here in a little bit. I just didn't want to clean it up now. What I'll do is I'll let the putty start tacking up, and then I'll rerun the knife through it. That way it looks like a separate piece instead of taking over the interior. It'll be like it lays down into the interior. And then just and guys, if your first time doesn't turn out right, just sand it down. Get the look you're after, then sand it down. See, right now it's wanting to pop down because it's still too wet. So like that right there. This side right here is wanting to fall down for some reason. I got a solution for this. There you go, you knucklehead. Still not right. Okay, let's take it down this way. Guys, Tom Jackson from Woods Chopper that's in the chat right now. If you guys don't follow him on Facebook, he posted a few pictures this weekend of a little bit of traveling him and some of his friends did. He's part of the classic Chevrolets, and they went and seen a bunch of old cars. One guy had like a chopped up 57 Nomad wagon, or maybe just a regular wagon because it was a 4-door, and they shortened it. It was pretty it's a pretty neat looking little wagon. So Tom's always got some cool car related pictures coming up. I built a tank, Brother John. I built the Tamiya Walker Bulldog. I built this one a few years ago, bud. I kind of want to find some more. These right here, guys, a really cheap Tamiya tank. It builds quick. It builds very good. Loads of detail. Loads of detail. I'd like to find a few more of these kind of cheap. I have a bunch of 2006 Mustang bodies that I'd like to cut up and put over here. And, like put a battle tank. And then, John, I also have, I haven't built them yet, but I picked them up. I have Picked up this Panzer. I'm going to try to give these figures a try. My last set of figures I've shared with Brett. You guys may not know Brett. Yeah, get me the T90. I want to see what all the all the hatred is that Ivan has for the T90. So I got that. I got this German half track. I picked up this. Now, I've heard tons and tons of mixed reviews on this one, John. A lot of people think the Revell issue of this is shit. I do know you have to build the whole body. I like the look of it, though. And it's the 1/35th scale, not the 1/72nd. Box is so big I can't put it in my camera view. And then I really been wanting to do this. I got the Hobby Boss high-speed tractor. I kind of want to do. But I picked up a couple of the Revell snowplow trucks and from some slot car guys. And I'm going to put a plow on mine and make it kind of like an Arctic cat. Like an Arctic cat thing. I don't know, that just sounded cool. Just to build an Arctic cat. If you guys don't know what an Arctic cat is, Google the pictures. It's a pretty neat looking vehicle. The AFV Club has a really nice tractor truck that resembles a 50 Chevy pickup, but it's kind of pricey. It's more around the $70-$80, and I got that one there for $35. I got the Hobby Boss for $35 off of the Facebook Scale Graveyard page, which I was happy. It was listed as an incomplete kit, but I think what happened is they thought that 90mm gun comes with it, but it don't. It's not even on the instructions. So if it's missing, I'm missing all of it, because it's not even in the instruction book or anything. Alright guys, we're going to roll this out another piece, and we're going to work on the sidewall. And the reason why I like working on this, because you can control it with your fingers and stuff. Yeah, John, that's what I like about that little truck. I was looking, that AVF Club truck is really nice looking. It's got a period look to it that I think automotive builders may enjoy, because the cab on it looks so much like a 40s, 50s style Ford Chevrolet truck. Just my opinion. And what's funny, like John and I talking about the AVF Club stuff, it was more for military gaming. Is that what it looks like, Punch? Like I'm making pasta noodles? So there, it just made me a little bit, smooth it out. Now I can come in here and I'm going to come in here and try to lay this on the body all the way down to the seat, because you want to, the whole thing gets widened. So later Tom, I hope you have a good day, bud. And then I'm just going to follow that in there, keep my fingers wet. It'll smooth everything in. And then you can actually like lay this Milliput down, do your formations, get what you need to get. And I'm just slowly widening the whole area up, just to give it the look. And come back in here, cut the seat off, because we don't want that in there. Give it some more smoothness. Come in here, get take that off the body and just keep smoothing it down. Then basically, when you do it this way, you're basically going to fill up your body gap, and you're going to create your boot, like you see that right there. Um, and then, like I said, this right here will take some time to dry, but I got plenty to work on. It's not like I'm trying to get it done so I can paint it today. So that's another thing too you got to have with Milliput. You got to have the patience. You got to let it dry. Um, but you can see how easy it is to form and make everything. When you do this with like a body filler, you have to put it on there. You have to let it dry, and then most of the time, you have to sand it to shape. Doing it this way, guys, um, you get the shape and form it, and like you can see, I can cut it, take away what I want away, keep what I want there, and I'm building my convertible style boot to the wall at my indiscretion, or you know what I'm trying to say, indiscretion. So I'm gonna make that like there, like that. All right, you guys back? Looks like we had a little setback right there, real quick. So I'm gonna do that. Then I just keep all that going. And you see I'm trying to keep the form all the way down like it's a hard plastic lay-in. This right here will give me room. I can add one of my resin subwoofers to it. And you see with just adding that one layer, you thicken it up just enough to where it actually will look like you had room for the mechanism of a convertible top to flow in. And then you do the same thing to the other side. And then you clean up your work and put me a little bit of water. This side here got dry. Shove it in and start working it. Yeah, you guys, I am not the only one in the community with information for you guys. Please sub each other. You might not learn anything from me that somebody else might be able to teach you a little bit better. We all have our different ways. This is what works for me. This is what I've enjoyed to do with the product I'm sharing with you guys right now. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm accustomed to and what's easy for me. Each builder has his own take. Each builder will have its own set of what he likes to work with or how to use it. So don't, don't be, what I want to say, don't be so, I'm just sharing ideas. I'm not the model builder guru. There's way better people out here in the modeling community than me. I just enjoy it, and I enjoy sharing what I do. This week on the Facebook page, we posted up a new segment thanks to the ISM guys over there at the Friday night live show. I put up a "What are you guys working on?" thread, and then a question and a question thread. Maybe you guys have something hobby related that you need an answer for, or a part ain't fitting right. What how would you do? And I will cover the questions on the Wednesday Scale World Wednesdays weekly show, Scale World Wednesday weekly show. And but you guys, all you modelers, we're looking for your guys' input, help answer some of the questions that some of our community members may be stressing over. The hobby's supposed to be a de-stress. I use it to de-stress. So no reason having a hobby that getting you more frustrated and aggravated. So take it upon yourselves, guys. If you have a question, um, if you have an idea on how to help somebody when they ask a question. Today, Mr. John Stone, which is a very, very well um, military builder, asked me a question on an acrylic base clear. I couldn't answer it for him. I just let him know what it was that I used, and that my paint booth is basically a very large paint booth, large enough that I use a home fan to pull the air and overspray out. So I told him that my experience with an acrylic only, um, with an acrylic only um, paint booth is I'm not knowledge at that because I use everything. Um, So since I use your thing, it's a more harsher clear than what Mr. Stone is used to using. So um, that was kind of a left open question. I just gave him a suggestion on what I use. Um, and I know there's other people out there. He had mentioned that he used Future, and that he was using Alclad Aqua Gloss, I think he said. Two products I haven't used. Um, so I was of very little help today for John for my first question. And sorry about that, Mr. Stone. Um, but if you guys have an answer, something for that you could share, by all means, the form is open for all you guys to answer. I know there's some great knowledge out there between you guys too. So don't hesitate to share. All I'm doing now, guys, is forming back in. Since I made that wide, all I'm doing is forming back in an armrest looking area. And then I'll get my finger wet again and come back in there. Get this right here. Back to form. And just like that, using now my one of my best friends, Christopher Lou, he posts a lot more on Facebook than he does on YouTube, but he does have a channel. He just did a really sick looking Audi, and what he's been using paper mache to build his body kits, guys. I bought the stuff. I tried to use it, could not use it. I gave the stuff to John, to Big Chris. I just couldn't. I didn't know how to use the stuff, and man, he works with it, and it is golden. He just you got to see his. You'd have to see the Audi R8 just to see what it, his body work and everything. And then, to know, I know firsthand that it was made out of a paper mache kind of pack that you get from Hobby Lobby, and he made it look great. Um, so it's not the cleanest way to do it, but with just that little bit of time that I had with you guys there, I've formed in all the stuff right here, and then once all this stuff dries, you can go back and do a surface sand, clean it up. Like I said, I'll probably have some speakers and whatnot in there. I'll give it a go. I'll squeeze down water one more time, and what that does is just it helps me get stuff off the body and help me get cleaned up. And then, like I say, the Milliput is a bit porous, so limit your water on it, but keep your tools wet. Keep your fingers wet when working with it. Some of the miniature guys, they like to use the green stuff. I don't use the green stuff. I haven't tried it yet. My friend Richard from the Nerd Life has offered to send me some. He buys it by the quantity, and I just had not And then we're just working that out. So almost my body work, like you guys seen, I've been using the Wambi, the Cumby. I said Wambi. Now I'm starting to talk like Clay Dim, Clem Day from Outback Mini Models. um, which I think he got his first can of Dr. Pepper because he's been posting how great he loves Dr. Pepper. So just a quick overview. We'll let that dry. You really can't see it right off, but you can see how I built some humps to match the rear headrest. Um, and I rolled it out in a sheet first, so that way I can control a lot of where it was going. This will work the same way if you want to build a body flare. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, I like Clem, but sometimes some of these channels is I kind of want to be um, more family related, and some of our other channels, they're more into just being men, and sometimes the vulgarity is less than desirable, guys. So yeah, like John said, now, the boys over there at the ISM crew, the live crew, um, they actually have a swear jar, which is pretty funny. And the money they put into the swear jar, they really have to pay to the swear jar. And the money they put into the swear jar, they turn around and, will buy a kit or they donate a kit. Right now, they've been doing a lot of work with Malcolm and Models for Hero. Malcolm is working with veterans of war. Those have some have disabilities now. Some have a mental anguish because you could imagine, what a military guy would be going through with the way the world is today. Um, so he takes the time to get these guys, um, gets these guys, even if it's just for a few hours once a month. Malcolm is getting these guys model building, and it's called Models for Hero. If you guys didn't know, ISM just did a live auction for those guys to raise money. They do it. Oh, they done it last year and they done it this year with some great support from you guys and great kits donated. It looks like something that's very very useful. And then Malcolm's been letting those guys share what they've been doing on the internet. If you guys want more information about the Models for Hero stuff, John Sharpie has all the information to where you guys can donate. You guys can donate a kit, paint, glue. If you just want to donate $5 or $10 here or something like that, we'll let John know, and once he can relay information to us. But it is Models for Hero. They do have a Facebook page, a great group of guys. Because we all have something we're battling with, and Malcolm's went out of his way to help some of these military families um, get a little break from, I hate to say reality, because some of those guys do have a mental displacement now. That PTSD is uncontrollable. It's sometimes they diagnose it and it's too late. Somebody's already acted out, or they're already having. It's sad to say, like suicidal attempts or something like that, just because of the mental anguish that they've suffered through. So that Models for Hero was really great. I'm going to show you guys something else real quick. I just cleaning up some jams. You dummy. Then I gouged my putty. And that's the beauty of this putty. You see me just gouge up my fingernail. Just go back up in there, and while it's still curing, you just go in there and get some reshape to it and take it. That beats trying to cut plastic, shape plastic, glue everywhere. Side note, this right here will be mounted into the interior. It will not be mounted to the car. That's what's bad. I'll be able to paint some of it, and some of it I'll have to tape off and then do the interior color. Depending upon if you want the boot to match the car, or if you want the boot to match the interior. Um, yeah, thanks for the information, John. There you guys go. John posted a little bit up. If you guys are just watching this video now, after it is published, you guys can hit the live chat thing, and it will take you to all what everybody is saying, and the information will be there. And like I say, guys, it's for a great cause. It wasn't just some man going out there looking for free stuff for just whatever. It is a real organization. They're doing a great. Sadly, it's just over in the UK as of right now. Um, Over in that area. We do have a guy in the community that is trying to do somewhat the same thing, but his is more of like an educational base versus a free thing. But he's over in Russia, and it's pretty neat to see those guys over there getting into modeling and doing a lot of that stuff too. All right, so now this stuff here it's getting a little bit thicker, but it's still workable. Need some water. Yeah. And not only is it a charity, but how many times do we see a charity, guys, come up and ask for money to feed somebody you won't get to see, or house kids over in another country that you'll never know if the money is really going to what you're donating to. Malcolm's part of our community. He is a model builder himself, so it wasn't like he was, coming to us because of whatever. He came to us because it's something that he's involved in himself and he enjoys. So it's great to see them show and talk about what they're doing with the gentlemen, men and women, I should say, that they are helping. Yep. Thanks, John. Well, that didn't work. I didn't notice that this bottle had a sticker on it. What the H? Oh. Let's do this different, guys. I'm gonna smooth it out. Then you could take your... I'm gonna go back to the trusty paintbrush. It seemed to work better. Get over there. Yeah. Yeah, see, John, we don't get the air effects unless... I don't... there's not much talk. That was the first time I heard you guys talking about, was the first time I heard of the Airfix points and stuff. Here in the U.S., we get the kits, but I've never seen the points. So I don't know how that works. But I do know one of my local hobby shops. I enjoy going there to get my Airfix kits. Okay. So now, if this works the way I'm wanting it to, cut that like that, cut that like that. Come on. I must have not had it wet enough. Come on. Sorry, guys. On camera errors are always legit, ain't they? I don't have the studio quality that some of these guys do, so you guys got to bear with me. What you get is what you get. Let's start the new piece of parchment. Alright, do this one more time, you idiot. Then I'm going to push it down this time instead of trying to roll it out. Let me push it down. John, you and I can have a whole hour of just bloops. Yeah, it must be drying up on me already, because it's wanting to stick to everything no matter if I... Alright, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to take this like this. Alright. Now this is if you were wanting to... Oh, hell. I like it better when I'm cutting it. And then laying it on the body like you guys saw, versus trying to hand roll it. But now it's getting too thick. So, but anyway, you can roll this out like so. You can put it on the body and then make your own flares if you wanted to, just by, you know, taking it, keeping it wet, and then smoothing it out. The reason why I like to cut it off and put it on the body is so that way you know the thickness is the same all the way around and what have you. And it won't affect the plastic so much to where I couldn't pull this off if I didn't like it. But I'm just going to give it just a little bit of width. And that's why some of these guys, they'll build up their plastic first, and then they come in here with the putty, so that way they know their width and everything. Then you just keep rolling it and putting it on out there. So, John, I like what you guys did this Friday, where you guys are going to alternate between the show and the build time. Something about watching a builder for me work makes me want to get to the bench and work, if you know what I mean. See, so if I was just wanting to do an arch, just an arch flare, basically that simple. It looks like shit, but I'm but it is that simple by using this Milliput stuff. And like you've seen on the interior, why it's still wet, you can go back in there. I always recommend having a nice good blade. And then you can just go in there and you can clean up if you wanted a hard edge. I'm not even pressing down hard. Just come in there, take that like that. You just go in there and you clean the rest of it up. You can clean that off before it dries. Then I'll take my Q-tip, then I just run it over. The Q-tip is going to help smooth it, and it's going to get make sure it's getting the cracks or something. If you pulled it up, it'll make sure you're getting all that smoothed out and filled in, just like so. But this is just something quick and stupid, guys. I just to show you what you could do with it. And then what you cut off, say you cut it off, or say you didn't like that, you just go back up in here, pull it all off. You know, as long as you got the working time still in it, you just pull it all off. Get you a paper towel that's nice and wet. And then you just go in here with the wet cloth and clean up your body, and then you could start over, once you get everything off that you need to. And like I said, I'm using windshield washer fluid. It's just something I keep on my bench. It's got a little bit of soap in it, not a whole lot to worry about. I would still wash the car before I primered and painted it. But if you go in there like this, and that wasn't what you actually was looking for, unlike automotive filler, automotive filler will actually etch into the plastic. This right here's a great way to learn. If you've ever thought about being a custom a custom model builder, and you wanted to have your own take on something, it's not really cheap at $8 to learn with, but it's forgiving. It's so forgiving. And you can see right there, it didn't touch anything, And then right there, as it starts to hard, like it's already getting tacky. And see, that's another thing about sharing your work, meeting who's in the model community, the gestures and stuff that we can throw back and forth at each other in good taste. That's what I like about it. You have, John. What I do, like if you watch back from the beginning, bud, is I like to cut it up in little pieces so I know it's mixed good. I just don't take two parts and then go at it. Um, for me, but no, it's not really hard to mix. It's just you got to all again and then again. It's just patience, knowing how much I was going to use on the boot already. Knowing how much I was going to use on the boot already, you make up what's according, so that way you don't have a lot of waste. But it is easy to learn with, easy to use. It's still why it's still tacky. You can go in there, make sure you're getting your levels, and then it'll probably take me, unlike body filler, which I put body filler on something, if it's not spot putty, actually something I put my hardener into, like my Evercoat metal glaze, 10 minutes I can come back there and sand. And like I said, they're in a few different colors. I chose the yellow, but it comes in gray. It can come in white. And then it cleans up off the bench fairly decent too. there's that. I'm just cleaning shit up, guys. Yeah, it is a two-part putty. And you're supposed to use equal amounts. And like I said, guys, I've always just pinched it and then used it. I've never weighed it out to see, to make sure it was dead on what I needed. And I have yet to had issues with it. So just like that. Yeah. Yeah, and basically it is just a A-B. It's just going to be an A-B um, part. If you ever use JB Weld, kind of something like that, you know, you just take the two parts and mix them together. I keep them in the bag. It seems to keep the lifelong on them. What's B17G, John? I like the John and them guys being military guys. They get some paints that are true to military stuff or airplane stuff. Um, oh, okay, yeah, it's a big bird, ain't it? Um, some of the colors that they have on some of the cockpits and stuff, I really want to try to pick up and do for like a weathered vehicle on the on the outside of a car, just because they look so good once John and them guys start doing the detailing and the weathering. They use like a concrete wash from UMP and some dark wash from UMP that really makes the greens just like stick out so well in some of the cockpit blues. I can just see an old rusted Ford pickup truck with the white roof and the side of the body, one of these colors, greens and blues, and just have it all weathering. So there's that, guys. And then I worked on the tail lights. If you guys didn't see that yet, tape's holding it now because I'm trying to keep this pinned up so it keeps the form good right there. Um, so it has its benefits, it has its drawbacks. Like I said, once I put it there in place on the interior to fill up all that, it's going to be stuck there on the interior like that. Um, you could try to get it to remove, but I'm afraid it will crack, and then it defeats the purpose of having a multi-piece thing in there. I will engrave my own separation lines, molding lines. Where's my last wheel? And I still don't know if I'm stuck on these wheels yet, but man, it looks so good in mock-up on these wheels. And then like there, kind of looks a little harsh and hideous right now, but once we give it a coat of primer, it takes a minimal amount of sanding. You just want to clean it up, make sure everything's nice and level, and you basically the rest of the body work is going to be done in primer. I'll put a couple coats of primer in it. That'll get it where I need it to be, and then we'll paint it. And what's great about doing it in an interior like this is if you foobar it to the point where it looks like trash, you can always flock it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Jason. I just don't know which rims yet to go with. I have several sets um, from Tamiya Aeroshima wheels. I have a dozen or better of Steve Zimmerman wheels. I have the wheels that I've made myself. I have draft design wheels from Shapeways. I just, you know, wheels make or break a car. So that's one thing that I like to do is mock up and do some wheels. The wheels in the back, though, on that car were special made for Michael Newport at Buckeye Scale model parts. So there, this car here is set. Everything else is set. I started to. Well, I'll give you guys update on this tomorrow on our Wednesday. I'm kind of wanting to keep that as the weekly Wednesday build, and I'll work on this here and there. It's amazing. Is I had these two built ups for a while. I've had the C1 project since it came out. Um, clearly scale stuff and everything, and just now I started to get to it. And you know it's amazing how it just all clicked all of a sudden. And now I'm getting interested not only in building this for scaledworld.net, but also we pulled out the glue bomb and started it too. um, there is some neat stuff out there on the market for this, guys. There's a few different hoods on eBay for this car. um, Clearly Scale has some hoods. Chris Hales is C1 is doing another version of this with the newer hood and stuff with his version. And then, just some great opportunities. I can't wait to see what really happens with the purchase of Revell and what that's going to do for us in the community. Um, Revell has some good kits. It sucks to see some of the old molds from the late 70s and 80s still being pushed out, just new box art, and the price goes up. But it brought us new stuff like the new Bronco. It brought us stuff like the newer Camaro, this Charger a few years ago. This Challenger a few years ago. The Volkswagen Rabbits that I'm loving building. So I would like to see a company that will keep producing the newer stuff, say 2005 and up stuff, and make us some new stuff. So there's some killer stuff out there, not in kit form, that I think we should be able to pick up. Even go back retro, give us a few retro series. Like I believe the Datsun 510 from Revell needs a makeover, that needs to be a lot better casted build. Take today's technology and give us that Datsun 510 again in a new form. Um, Give us some old American cars that haven't been made. Give us some old Australian cars that have never been made in plastic form, like some of the Holdens and some of the some of that stuff, some of the Australian Falcons that we've never ever seen in kit form. Um, go to where John is. They have a whole different fleet of Ford trucks, Mercedes trucks. Go over there where Punch is, where, some of the um, Ford Festivas over there were so much better looking than the little shit crap boxes that we got over here in the U.S. There's a great market for older vehicles, for the newer vehicles. I would love to get a new Holden station wagon. Yeah, like Steve Courtney says, the new Cadillac, even the new Cadillac by itself looks great. The two door, then the wagon, Steve mentioned, that wagon. Look at some of the older Ford trucks that Mobius is jumping on. Um, you know, we need a company out there that can give us not just the damn Camaros, Mustangs, and Corvettes. I'm a huge Mustang fan. But how many times do we need a 70 Boss? You know, how many times do we need the same 68 that we're going to title the Bullet. Then we're going to do the Cobra Jet drag racing using the same body and the same decals. I do like what they did to the Thunderbolt. When the Thunderbolt first came out, Revell had it just as the Toscas Ford drag car. All you could do was the drag car. It took them some 20 years to reissue the kit finally with the stock hood, with the stock interior, and we can build it either a street car or a drag car. Um, you know, well that and like Punch just said, it works both ways. Um, I think the designer puts more heart and detail into something that he picks, but also look at us in the community. We want stuff that we can't hesitate to go buy. When they built the Suburban, the 66 Suburban, people flocked to it. Even so much as the Ford F-150 Raptor Snap Together kit for the kids. Look how many 2015 Mustangs that I bought, and it was just a plain toy. I mean, there's no chassis detail. The interior detail sucks. But I bought a few dozen of them because it was the newest Mustang on the market that I could go get. It wasn't the same kit that I bought when I was 11 years old, just in a new box art with the decal sheet. You know, um, there's profit to be made. There's some good tools out there that could be brought back to life, and there's some that just need to be flushed. There's the market has been flooded with them. There's no need for that to get used over and over and over just to cause we're selfish in this community. We think if we pay $30 that we should open the kit and it's going to be perfect. A lot of these guys don't realize that some of the some of the stuff that they're buying has been ran for 15, 20 years. So what do you think is going to happen to the mold? You're going to get flash here and there. And you hear the rants and raves. I remember when the notchback Mustang first came out. I was so wanting a notchback Mustang, no matter what year, just because everything else was either the convertible or the fast or the hatch, and then everybody beat it up. The roof height is wrong. The bumper indications were set too far in, and it's just a whole bunch of hype off that. Well, guys, I'm gonna finish this up. I got daily chores to do. Thank you for spending an hour with me. Hope you guys try the Milliput. This is Minnie. Don't forget, over on Facebook, we posted up a question series for Scale World Weekly, and post up what you're building. There's two different threads posted up there today. We would like to see and